Yeah, there's a little hand emoji at the bottom of the screen, and that can be used to, if you want to speak, put your hand up, and we'll just go through each person in order. So I'm trying my best to make this as controlled as possible, because I can imagine it can get quite busy in here, and you don't want everyone speaking at one time. So yeah, we should be good at that. All right, so we've got 13 people in here so far. So for those that don't know, my name is Michael Gordon. I am director of Crossroads Housing, as well as Gordon Brooks Property. You know what? Just give me a sec. I can see more people coming in. Let me not repeat myself. All right, let me take that off so they can just come in. Yeah. All right, we've got 18 people so far. Yeah, I think we need another 2 minutes to let people in. Okay. Yeah, so director of Crossroads Housing and Support. Um, a preferred provider with Birmingham City Council, award winning in the quality of service that we offer, and also part of the BVSC and Charter of Rights. So as I say things like this, feel free to put things in the comment section. If you want me to go in a bit deeper on certain things. If anyone feels like they can add anything to anything I'm saying, feel free to put your hand up, and yeah, it's an open discussion. So Crossroads Housing has been operating for since 2019 now, and in that time we've gone to 130 bed spaces for vulnerable adults across the city. Um, as some of you may know, it's an area of business where it was kind of unregulated for a long time. It got big, it got messy. The council currently has 26,000 bed spaces alone, just for that one service. And there was a time when a lot of people were just jumping into the industry with not much experience, and it caused it to basically be really run down. So we came in at a time where we weren't necessarily privy to how bad things were, and we had the attitude of trying to operate to the highest standards as possible. And I think that's what's shown and allowed us to perform at the level that we do now. Gordon Brooks is essentially an independent estate agency that I created for myself, to buy properties, invest in property, and just essentially turn the assets into income generating and sustainable assets for myself. And then the same thing that I was doing for myself, I started to extend to other people as a service, and that's how Gordon Brooks came about. And shortly into that journey, I learned about social housing, and then from there, created Crossroads Housing, and the two businesses basically support each other. Just so I know that everyone can hear me and the sound's okay and all that kind of stuff there, and that we all have the same capabilities. Can everyone see where it says you got the reaction on the screen? Can everyone send me a thumbs up? Just want to make sure everyone's got the same capabilities. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. All good, all good. All right, I am going to share a screen. Leon, I can see you. I'm going to come to you in a sec. I'm going to share a screen. I've tried to be as organized as possible. Just give me a sec. I'm just trying to go where I can see. And all right, just bear with me. It's slowing down a bit as people are coming in. We've got 21 people in the group at the moment. Yeah, 22. All right. I'm going to make this bigger so everyone can see it properly. Also, what I'm going to do is I've actually created a shareable link, which I'm going to put into the chat now. If everyone wants to actually get this document so they can just see it a little bit closer as I'm going through it, feel free to click the link in the chat. It'll just give you a read-only version of what I'm showing you now. Um, yeah, we should be good with that. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. Leon, I saw you put your hand up before. Is there anything that you wanted to say? Because I can't see that it's still there now. All right, it must be good. Right, first topic then. Social housing and supported accommodation. So it's quite a hot topic, but one of the things that's important to note is to note when we talk about social housing, supported accommodation. Social housing is more the overall area that we operate in, but sometimes we use the words social housing and supported accommodation a bit, maybe too interchangeably. The reality is social housing, in the real sense, more talks about affordable housing. So, a family that doesn't need any support but can't afford to rent privately would be in social housing. Supported accommodation is it's accommodation with an element of support. And even then, really, if we're talking about the vulnerable adults that is non-regulated, it's really supposed to be called support exempt accommodation because supported accommodation alludes more to the younger children, like care leavers, which is the 16 to 18 space. So I think it's important for everyone to know sometimes that you might be talking to someone about supported accommodation, and I might even be talking about supported accommodation, but my supported accommodation is vulnerable adults, not 16 to 18, though I am looking to get into that space. So I think I'm learning to be more careful about the words that I'm using because they have their own meanings. And it's important to make that distinction. So the level that I operate at, um, it's not impossible to get in at my level, which is the vulnerable adults, but it is harder now. There are ways into it, but it's very difficult. It's very messy. When something's unregulated, it comes with its own challenges and its own issues. Also, the margins are a lot less. The overall income is a lot less when it comes to vulnerable adults. Essentially, we're offering like 1 hour a week of support. The 16 to 18 space is something that I'm heading into now and something that I'm aggressively, trying to learn on at the moment and like really understand how does that all go together. Because previously, the 16 to 18 space was not regulated, but in recent time has recently become Ofsted regulated, which is causing a lot of change. I'm actually interested to know, can can I see a thumbs up for anyone that's involved in the supported accommodation for vulnerable adults? I just want to see if I can get like a little. I want to gauge, or even the hands up, the raised hands. I can count them a bit easier there. If you just raise your hand, it's not the emoji. It's literally the raised hand. Yes, 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 yes. All right, I got one, two, three, four. Okay, so yeah. Again, to be honest, it seems like not many people are actually in that space. If in this chat right now, um, is it a good space? Would I encourage anyone to get into it? Yes and no. Yes, if you're going to do it as something that is totally managed and contained by yourself. So I remember when I first started, I had about 12 bedrooms, and between me and a cousin, we was just managing the support on those. I found that the difficulty came when I tried to scale, because you create a situation where if it's just for you and it's just an income for yourself, and you might have one support worker, it's great. Everything's easy to manage. You might even do a bit of cleaning. You might do a little bit of maintenance. When it's like that, it's okay. When you try to scale it up into a larger business, you find that you quite quickly find there's a bit of a no man's land where the margins are so tight that you need to be very big, but there's no space in the middle. So would I encourage someone to get into it? Yes, if they know that from the start. Either you're going to be small, remain small, and have it as a supplement to something else that you're already doing, or somehow you're going to acquire something and become very big very quickly, and you're going to know what you're doing, and hit the ground running. But to scale small and, house by house, and we've gone from 12 to 24 to 36, it'd be very difficult and painful. And I think if I never had the team and even just the experience of business that I had before, there's many times when we could have definitely went under, just through lack of experience or just lack of funding at certain times. Does anybody have anything that they want to add to that? Any of the three in the space? Does anybody want to speak about that? Maybe I see you still got your hand up. Did you want to say something? That's no problem. That's no problem. Amjad. Okay, Amjad taps down. Arise. I wanna call you out. I want to hear about your experience of supported accommodation, please. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you. So in my opinion, really, I feel like providers need to speak more to each other. I feel like if we could form some kind of group that is aware of other providers that may be going under, maybe closing down, maybe getting rid of stock, or even just like when properties are coming available, where it's kind of like if I can't do it, you can. If you can't do it, I can. Of we can't do it, maybe together we can, kind of thing. I feel like that's the next level within the support accommodation sector. More collaboration, 100% is needed. Miss Caroline. Mhm. I'm glad you said that. So I can tell you for a fact, Birmingham City Council wants to reduce the amount of bed spaces by 50%. That's like an internal goal that I keep hearing in several different spaces. Um, I don't think they can actually strike off. They can't just stop there. They can't stop providing the service, because essentially, if there's 26,000 bed spaces and they're trying to get it close to 10,000, where do all the people go? But how I see it going is just literally changing their benefit status. So instead of saying exempt housing rate, it will just go to literally local housing allowance rate, and then it will just be left for providers to figure it out what you're going to do. Either you move the person out or you house them, but we're not paying you that rate anymore. And on paper, they've reduced the problem. Also, in terms of tighter restrictions, we've experienced them already. So onboarding, for example, they're doing it in such sly ways that you can almost miss it. But onboarding used to take us, if our RSL comes out on a Friday and they say it's okay, we can actually house somebody by the Friday, and within a week, we have all the necessary paperwork to say, yep, this is officially onboarded and registered with the council. That's now taken. I've got one property that's taken up to 3 months to get that same. We've moved people in, people are there, they're getting support, but the council's not recognising the property, and they're asking us additional questions that they never asked us before. And we're in a situation now where it's just like you've got to run the property for 3 months. That was only ever the case if you was going direct to the council. So there's a few pathways you can take to actually get into this situation. One is going direct, no RSL, no housing association, and the other one is working underneath an RSL or housing association as a managing agent. But it seems that both routes now are becoming as difficult as each other. So yeah, they are making it harder. We are facing those. We're feeling it, and it's like they're just basically going to flush people out. Yeah, yeah, yep. Can hear you. Hmm. Mm. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. And even I think we had a notice from Reliance at one point saying that if you got 10 or less rooms, you're going to be decommissioned, and it was encouraging people to come together to combine their rooms. So I think my internet's been a bit slow. Yeah. So yeah, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. I think the best thing we can do is just keep communicating with each other, keep each other in the loop, because you might know something that the next person doesn't, and vice versa. We're not getting any help from any kind of government bodies. It's just you'll just know when it happens. All right. This is on the interest of time. Let me just touch on the 16 to 18 space really quickly. Admittedly, my experience of it is quite low. I've only ever been like kind of looking from the outside in. I'm looking to set up my first collaborative provision within the first week of November. So just currently looking at lease, well, currently waiting to sign a lease on a property, which is going to be about 7 to 8 bed unit, focusing on UASC, young people. UASC being young people that are basically asylum seekers, and they're looking for an answer on whether they can stay in the country. But as young people, there is still a duty of care to them, and they still need to be looked after in the meantime. And those are the young people that we're going to focus on for this provision. Does anybody operate in that space already? Okay, okay. Unknown. Are you? Sorry, this is coming up as unknown. There's no name. Are you willing to talk on it? Oh, yes, Miss Bianca. Yes, okay. Mm. You know, I'm happy that you said that, and I'm again, you're way more experienced than me in this space. I'm just learning, and you're actually, I've said this to you before. Like when I was looking from afar, you're one of the people that I saw delivering the, the better versions of the services. So, definitely an inspiration in the space. When it comes to these young people, I've heard, well, like you said, some of their stories could be orchestrated to even get them here. I've also heard that there's a big thing with them possibly lying about ages, and you don't necessarily know. And they'll even go as far as potentially doing like dental checks to work out their ages and all that kind of stuff there. So it could be 20-year-old pretending to be 16 because they know how to go. Mm. Yeah. And it's silly because it's like, I don't know, it's like the way the British government is set up is like, it's a great system, it's very robust, but it kind of falls on its own sword sometimes because it's like, well, prove that this 20-year-old, obvious 20 plus year old man is not 15. And in the meantime, they're going to put so many other people at risk in the process. It's a flawed system. It's a flawed system. To be honest, I think, there's so much that could be discussed on that section. I'm just conscious of the time, but thank you for your contribution. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next session, topic two. But just by like a thumbs up or an emoji, can everyone just show me how beneficial or interesting they found that section? Thank you. Like I said, light talks, not hard. 45 minutes on a Sunday, and if we have particular interest in certain areas, we can go a little bit deeper into those spaces. Um, but the idea is just to get us all together and start having more of a controlled conversation so we can learn some stuff. Um, I even wanted to touch on like the rates that people are getting and what's being paid because I know that I don't want to get into people's business and stuff like that. But if we could all just understand what a good rate and what a bad rate is, then we can not necessarily compete against each other, but just create like a market standard. This is what a rate should be. This is what you should offer for the rate, so that the house down the road from you isn't just kind of undercutting you and doing the bare minimum, and you're losing placements. And it's like it's a race to the bottom. It's pretty much similar to the supported accommodation, sorry, serviced accommodation industry. You want to put your rate down because the next is they're getting 100 a night, now it's 90 a night, now it's 80 a night, to the point where no one's even making any money. It doesn't need to be that way. Everyone agree that this is what we do for that rate, and may the best person with the best service win. But you know, let's not compete on price as much as possible. Right. Next section is just talking about grants and CICs, how to secure grants, what does that look like, and just slightly touching on government tenders. So I actually have two companies for Crossroads Housing. One is a Crossroads Housing and Support Limited. The other one is Crossroads Housing and Support Services, CIC. Nothing funny about the reason I set that up, but I actually learned late the benefits of CICs. So initially, I set up a limited company because that's all I ever knew. Just you buy for one, you sell for two, you deliver a service and you pay for it, and you keep it quite simple. It wasn't until later on I really understood that a lot of the times, especially within support services, local authorities, local government, whoever's paying you, is often only really paying for the support. And a lot of people are running businesses based off a high level of support costs, um, not knowing that one, you can supplement the support with grants, and also you can claim housing benefit for the people that you're housing. So it's almost like if you don't know any better, you'll be making money that you think is good, not realizing that you're leaving a lot on the table or paying more than you need to be paying. So from an vulnerable adult side of things, how we've structured it is we get an exemption rate, which is just basically an inflated housing benefit to deliver accommodation, keep it good, and deliver 1 hour a week of support. The issue with that is the element of support is actually not paid in the housing benefit. It's just an inflated housing benefit that requires it, wants to see it, wants proof of it, but actually doesn't pay for it. So that allows me then to seek funding for the support element in other places, which is where the CIC came in. The goal for the CIC was that if we could get, say, lottery funding for £20,000, maybe that covers two support workers for the year. Because I can still write a bit to say we're going out into the community and we're going into homes of vulnerable adults and actually helping them to move forward in life. I can prove that we're doing it on a daily basis. We're doing it with or without the grant. We have to, but we're doing it out our own. We're doing it basically out of the exemption rate. We're just doing it out of the housing benefit, which most people are. If you're doing it that way, the margins are so tight that you have one bad month and you might be down that month. So finding ways of supplementing the day-to-day activity in the business can help to make the business more viable. So I say it another way: if you in this sector any at all and you're struggling, there probably are ways you could be supplementing what you are doing. Um, a quick overview of how to secure grants. So two ways we can be securing grants. We can either write them ourselves or work with bid writers. But I think in the early days, I would always encourage people to learn how to write grants yourself, even if it's just little ones. Lottery awards for all is pretty good. You do need to. You might not even have to be a CIC for that one, but it's a good skill to know, at least initially. One of the sites I'll share with you really quickly is the grants. So I think everyone should, if you don't know it already, there's multiple sites like this, but this is one of the better ones. And what it happens with this is you sign up to it, and they will, like, every week you'll receive like a mail shot just letting you know of what grants are available. So like Seven Trent is one that we're looking at the moment. Seven Trent want to see anything that helps touch the community really. If you're doing anything to do with any kind of health, social care, that you can show you are helping people and moving people forward, you can probably fit within their requirements, and they're doing up to £20,000. Um, Heart of England, Heart of England, we've had just over £14,000 from Heart of England, and with that we're delivering like inclusive sports programs. So we've rented out a local community center, and every other week we have like basically a warm space. People can come. They don't have to be one of our residents. It's literally open to the community. We get professional trainers to do like stations and all that kind of stuff there, and tea, coffee, food, just things like that. But essentially, these are the things that we want to do, but we won't be able to do it if we're just relying on the money that we get from the council to deliver these programs. But we want to go above and beyond to actually help people. So this is the kind of stuff that you need to tap into to be able to deliver that service. And once you can, it again puts you in good standing with local authorities because they can see that you're doing something different than other people. Let me get back to this screen. And then finally, we have government tenders. Government tenders is top of the tree. Government tenders don't care whether it's a CIC or a limited or anything like that. Government tenders are at the top level. They need to satisfy some numbers. They need to show some results in an area. They are putting out the contract to say, we need X. If you can supply X, we will give you Y. We don't care how you do it, how you use the money, where it goes and how it's spent. Just show us and prove that you've delivered what we asked you for. Let me show you something else. And again, I'm only sharing my journey so far. I'm not saying that I know all the answers. I know that there is more to learn in this area. Again, um, really, grant and tender writers should be consulted at this level because it can get quite complicated. For the grant tenders, I would say you probably shouldn't write these bids yourself. You should work with a bid writer to understand it a little bit better. And after you've seen a few, you might have the skill set to do it then. So if you're talking the grants for CIC, lottery, and all that kind of stuff there, it's a bit easier to write it yourself. They're a bit more forgiving. When it comes to government, just get it right and know what you need to do immediately because you're not going to get a second chance. They won't even tell you that you failed. So I'm just gonna just do a quick search here because I just want to show people what's really going on here. So I'm just gonna type in homeless. I'm not even gonna put any real filters on it. See what comes up for homeless. So straight away you've got like these big contracts here. Million plus I would say is big, 4 million plus. Uh, Here we go. Let's just look at this one. So sometimes that you shouldn't even let the big numbers scare us because they're not saying that this needs to go to one person. You're just trying to get a piece of that pie. But this is something that half of us all are already doing. A homeless person would be anyone over the age of 18. Accommodation and support, we're all doing that in some sort of capacity. Let me look at the information on it. City of Wolverhampton Council wants they're saying that they deliver effective services for vulnerable clients. They're looking for a homeless person's accommodation and support framework. A minimum of 55 units of emergency accommodation for support, with support for homeless single adults. So, like, they're telling you that would be a one bedroom, a studio apartment, a block of one beds. So when we're seeing these contracts pop up and people are saying, I've got a 60 unit block and we've just got the government back contract and you can invest in this and get your return in 3 years and all that kind of, it's this kind of stuff that they're talking about. They're getting these contracts, getting these rundown blocks, turning them around and then filling them as quick as possible. They're getting the return because they've got the contract and then they're basically cashing out rather than waiting a year or 2 years for their money to come back. They're basically borrowing against what they've just done, and you've just got to trust that they're actually going to run it for the length of the contract. But this is the back end to how that happens. Can I just get like a thumbs up or even a thumbs down to I just want to know that if everyone's following me with when I'm talking about these government contracts, do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So again, we can be doing these things. You don't have to be a big organization, but I feel like we need to be maybe collaborating a little bit more. At the end of the day, could I do 55 units? Probably. But could I do all of these stages by myself? Probably not. I can't, you know what I mean? And they want one provider, one to deliver all three stages, 55, 25, 100 clients per annum to move on, to locate, move on accommodation. Everyone in the group has all stages of these things already or has the ability to create it, but no one person has it, not easily. But as a consortium, you could probably figure out how to get these kind of bids. And this one was for 4.8 million. Yes, please speak. Yeah. Um, thank you. Thank you. I believe that is a way. That's a way going forward. Like, if you want these kind of bids with these kind of numbers, it has to be a group of people working together. Because either it's just going to be a large existing provider like a Green Square Accord or a Trident Reach, or someone that's just well established, or a consortium that can clearly show how together they're going to deliver these services. And all it is just positioning. It's just, how do you frame it? What's the optics? How does it look? What's the management team? What's the leadership team? Combined, what have you achieved? Combined, how many bed spaces do we all have already? We probably already have hundreds. I'm 130 myself of vulnerable adults, and responsible for more properties that I've helped other people to gain. So I would go as far as to say, in the group there's probably thousands of bed spaces, varying, going from a small child going right up to a vulnerable, high needs, complex needs adult with CQC care. So all the energy is there. It's just bringing it all together. And I agree, someone has to kind of lead it and go first. And essentially, that's what I'm trying to create here. I'm trying to create these spaces where I'm learning and being vulnerable publicly, so we can have these conversations. We can build trust with each other, and also create a system where, whilst we can trust and know each other, if you do things right legally, you don't need to. It's just a case of, this is my role, this is my share, and we're all working together to do it. No one person is bigger than the thing, and no one person can bring anything down. It happens in many other sectors already. It's not unusual for companies to come together. It's just understanding the legal framework around that. But I don't think we're a million miles away. Um, One thing I do know is we all have the same overall goals. We just want to do better in life, escape the rat race, and look after our loved ones. So it's coming. It's coming. Just looking at the time, we're on 41 now. Um, let's just have a bit of an open discussion. Does anybody want to add anything in? It can be about any of the sections, or even just to say how they felt about this particular session. Um, Sorry, unknown, please speak. Hmm. Hmm. Sorry, can you just say the question one more time, because you broke up a bit at the start. What was the question? Who is the person? What is the name, or what's the organization? Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. He does it. Yeah, yes, yes. I would say that what he's doing is probably a bit different. I think he's a commentator on the space, but he's not a provider himself. But he's got a lot of experience. Like, definitely someone I respect. So, um, I don't even like using the word competition in any of this, to be honest with you, because there's no shortage of vulnerable people. Like, you're not gonna, no one person is gonna save them all anyway. Um, I'm more interested in sharing best practice so that we can all be operating at the highest standard. Like, there is literally no shortage of people in need. So I don't even believe that there can be competition. Like, no one is. There's no shortage of people, and there's no shortage of uh, opportunity. So yeah, I know Michael Patterson. I know Michael Patterson. I've met him a few times at the SEA forum, which is, Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah, he's someone that I look at, I appreciate his opinion and all that kind of stuff there, and definitely use it as a guide on how to move forward. Mm. Anyone else have anything they want to say about today's session? Aaron? Yes, mate. Mm-hmm. What level of support are we talking about? Are we talking about vulnerable adult supported accommodation or another? All right. So for the service, I know that Nottingham may be an area that you can go to. I know that Coventry may be an area. Uh, Bradford is an area that most people don't know about that have something similar. But I would probably say Nottingham and Coventry, and I'd probably say even more so Coventry as like the next available area. They do have a provision for this, but it's a bit quieter over there. Um, nice. Mm, yeah. Mhm, mhm, yeah. Mm, mhm. So the keyword is always going to be support exempt accommodation. So if you literally type in support exempt accommodation Coventry, you'll find a link on the government website. I'll tell you what. Just for the sake of one last bit of value, I'll just show you. I'll show you. Once you know what you're looking for, it's like you said. If you don't know, you don't know. Let me see if I can find it quick. So here's Coventry to be classed in. Blah, blah. And all I'm really looking for is new providers and scheme. I'm just looking for a name. I'm just looking for some contact details. I'm just gonna move around this space until I find something. Yeah. So we got an online form here. I'll put a link here. Links in the chat. But float around this space, look around this space, um, learn everything you can from this. To be a landlord in Bangla, you need to be a CIC, okay, or a registered provider. So we know what an RP is. That's the concept and the reliance. Um, you're not going to be going down that route because they don't operate in that area. There may be one in that area, but you'd have to find it. Um, so you're going to start as a CIC. Just bear in mind, like I said, in Birmingham, they was allowing you to operate as a limited company. They've already just told you, don't even talk to us unless you're a CIC. And then essentially what you're going to be doing is submitting directly to them that property to say, look, I have this property and I'm delivering this service. Just bear in mind, whenever you go direct to the council, they want to see the property running first. So you can't tell them, I want to bring a property on, this is the address, sign it off first, and then I'm going to fill it with vulnerable adults, and then you're going to pay me the enhanced rate. It goes the opposite way around. Run it at your own cost. Show us that you're doing it, show us the support, and we'll back pay you. That's what makes it difficult a lot of the times when you're going direct to the council, because you have to have that outlay first. Yeah. All right. Time. Yeah, no, no problem, no problem. What I would like to ask people as well is please share what you do. Share it in the chat. We've got a lot of people in the chat, and not everyone speaks, but it's one of those ones. Closed mouths don't get fed. Share your problems, share your wins, share your losses, so that we can grow as a community and really share value with each other. Um, just a few things to close off. I just want everyone to understand that I do consultancy in this space on an hourly basis, face to face or by Zoom. So if you ever want to have a session, if you want to see how I can help you to improve your business, please reach out to me directly. I'm also having a private dinner at the Ivy on the 3rd of November. I'm going to put a link in the group for that. We're halfway sold, but it's literally 10 females, 10 males from different sectors, different backgrounds. Don't have to be in property or social housing, but it's just little dinners that I do to actually just meet people and build real connections in nice environments. So it's just a bit of downtime really, but sometimes that's when the real connections are made. So please have a look at that link, and I hope everyone found it valuable. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone have a good Sunday. Have a good one.